Okay.
All right.
I wonder, is Elizabeth dialed in? You know? Anybody here?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, we will call this to order, and I forgot my cheat sheet, so you guys are gonna have to help me remember the process. Okay,
It's only been 2 months.
well, I know, but I still need that, like, I am so reliant on my dumb little notes. I know I was forgetting something, okay, anyway, I know Jeff will help me.
Your woman is
Thanks,
dispersed.
Okay, so we're gonna, has everybody had a chance to read the minutes? And if so, could we get a motion to approve?
I wasn't here at that meeting, but do I still get to vote?
You can.
Oh, you've read them,
I did. I moved that we approve the minutes.
Second.
Carla, thanks, and Jeff, thank you. All right, oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Wonderful. Look at that. Okay, and we have a visitor today. Hi.
Hi,
Do you want to introduce yourself?
yeah, my name is Maggie Bliss. I am Pam's daughter and I have a master's in sustainable resource management.
Cool.
And so I'm just kind of here to listen and learn.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Where was, you don't look anything like your mother.
I heard that. They're like, I got it in Germany.
Oh, wow.
Awesome. Was that part of a program from an American university or?
No, so I went there in 2016 with a Fulbright scholarship and then I decided to stay and then I learned the language and then I decided to get my master's.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
Fascinating journey. I love it. That's
Puts
great.
us to shame.
Yeah. Well, thanks for being here. It's good to meet you. Okay, so, Todd, we don't have any notes or anything from people?
No.
Okay, cool. And good, I'm gonna see your home. All right, well, just to go over some old business and kind of give everybody updates. Elizabeth, we'll wait a minute or two, maybe put the parade down at the bottom. She was just going to share a little bit about it. If she makes it here, great. If not, it's no big deal. The Webster Kirkwood Times red bag situation, if you remember, we had a visitor a few months back who was concerned about the amount of trash in general in the neighborhood, and then specifically the WKT red plastic bags. I had a great conversation with them and have exchanged a few emails. Carla and I are going to be working on pulling together kind of a plan. They said that they would be willing to put a couple of reminders in their paper of drop-off locations. And I have a question, Todd, and maybe Pam, about this email, a couple of ideas that they floated around. They have a collection box. I think it's probably through Trex or something like that, but at their office. And they were wondering if we would be willing to kind of have a small receptacle to collect red bags if people are conscientious enough to collect them and drop them off at City Hall or at the rec center. So that we were just trying to brainstorm where, ideas of where people are and things that we can do to help folks put those bags in the right spot. So that's one ask, and Todd, I can send this to you in an email as well.
Yeah. Talk to Dr. Peoples.
Okay, great, thanks. Of course, also in that communication that the WKT said that they would be willing to do is remind folks about the receptacle, the entrance of Schnucks.
Yeah.
That plastic bag receptacle there.
I think that's important because
Mhm.
we want them to recycle
All their plastic bags, and maybe,
Right.
your cereal bags and et cetera, et cetera. And then, yeah, so also I'm gonna speak with Jamie Mowers, who works at the WKT as well, and brainstorm a little further on, her, I don't know if you all read the WKT, but her Buzzing Love little column here that she has printed every once in a while. There was a story about an elderly neighbor who really appreciated her neighbor, her younger neighbor, bringing the WKT to their front door. Their readership is, you know, a lot of elderly folks read the paper. And so it was, I think that's a really fun way to have those, obviously you can't write to the folks who aren't picking up their paper at the end of the block, you know, or at the end of the driveway. So how can those of us who are reading it help our neighbors and throwing it up the driveway or putting it on their front porch or something like that? So lots of fun little creative ways that we're going to address that. So that's the update there.
Someone threw ours up the sidewalk today because we
Yeah,
had
it
gotten
did.
to it and it landed right on top of the pole.
Oh,
So convenient.
So, again, you're not to throw cold water on it, but do you have any idea whether those bags actually get recycled?
Yes, so I worked with one STL on the regional campaign that they, with a marketing firm. And those are, that consists of like the, what's the east-west gateway of Council of Governments, thank you. And folks from U City and just folks from Earthway Center and Mobot. So that was a program that they have, like, they know the results are that those bags go and get turned into lumber, plastic lumber.
Okay.
So yeah, that is like a legit thing that's happening, and that they put money into that marketing campaign.
I don't know if the WKT would put it in there, but there's a lot of, you know, I don't know exactly what the word is, but I think people, if they know that it actually gets
Yeah.
turned into something, it
Mhm.
might make them a little bit more confident.
Yeah, I think some natural skepticism on that
Yes,
because recycling has been, let's say, shady by design. From the
And they-
beginning.
these are the bags at the Schnucks we're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
box out front. This is in front, in the door.
Yeah,
It's like
right in the
carts.
front doorway.
And is that the same like at Trader Joe's or is it the same?
I don't know who Trader Joe's uses. I do know that Schnucks has partnered with one STL, that group of materials and recycling recovery group. And I know Straub's was talking to them right prior to the pandemic. Straub's is doing all sorts of their own thing. But I do know that Deerberg's was the one like that everybody was trying to get to still. But yeah, that's Schnucks is partnering with them on that. So
That's great.
it's a good thing. So yeah, it's a good idea, John, to mention the doubt and hesitation, to clarify that so that we can help people.
Just smoking something on those boxes that tells what happens to it could be
Yeah,
pretty helpful.
that was part of the marketing. They were like, how can we?
Oh, maybe it's there. and I
There is a consistent marketing like effort,
Okay.
but I don't know that it like goes deep into explanation, but it's on the one STL website, which is atrocious, but nevertheless, it's there. My personal opinion. Okay, so that's that. That's with the WKT trash update. Elizabeth, do you have a little update or summary on the parade?
Just that our parade was great. We got rid of like, how many?
I think like 500 bags.
500
Nice.
bags. So, which was really the highlight. We won best float. No, I'm just kidding.
We should have.
That would have been awesome.
We would have.
When's next year?
We would not really worry about the state of the parade.
Oh my gosh. Elizabeth, Jeff and I were sweating buckets and
Warm day.
a little bit, but it
But-
was fun.
Yeah, it was a great time and you know, from our standpoint, we got rid of some bags.
Yeah.
Success.
Yes. We're gonna get back to bags, but not at this meeting. Take a break. Okay. Okay, and then on our old business as well, Todd, the bike lanes, we are seeing more sharrows.
We are almost done.
Okay.
So they're finishing up the sharrows on Edgar. And then the signage has to go up on Edgar yet.
Okay. Fantastic. Has anybody in the
I've only
community?
had one person who's a nominal complainer to Dr. Peoples. And she forwarded him to me. She goes, here, you deal with him. She goes, I'm tired of dealing with him. And he was just adamant against why you would take away a driving lane on Lockwood. And now a rush hour is horrible. And I'm like, I've never seen it back up on Lockwood. What are you talking about? It's black height.
Or go right by.
Exactly.
The bike lanes are open, so.
Yeah.
there you go.
Okay, great.
And the
That's
bicyclists are, you know, the ones that are all decked out, They
Oh, yeah.
were
They love it.
ecstatic.
In the
I
kids.
see, I mean, I see a lot of people using it, so that's great.
It's good, and I've had some discussions with friends too, and they're like, wow, they're everywhere. I'm like, as they should be.
Yeah, we're getting there.
And we need to share the road, and so, yeah, so it's been good, so
I'm,
thanks.
I'm working on another one.
What's
That's-
that?
That's probably 5-6 years down the road, then, because I'm filing for a federal grant.
Oh, great.
Awesome.
Elm from Glendale down to Watson, there's no
Ooh.
sidewalks.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the street is hugely wide. So I'm going to put a sidewalk from the curb in. A bike lane, parking lane, driving lane, parking lane, curb. So the parking lanes and the driving lanes will be shorter, smaller.
Wow.
Okay.
A little sidewalk and a bike,
Dedicated bike lane. Wow. From,
Fantastic.
Glendale to Watson.
That's great. Super
So
proud.
then getting to Elm and Glendale is gonna be the next.
yeah, you still gotta go under the highway there, but
Yeah.
hey, one step at a time.
I did hear that MoDOT is looking at that, at all of the interchanges on 44, including the ped bridges. And that will also be a multiple years process, but that was a comfort to hear that those are
They
being.
told us our ped bridges are coming to their end of their useful life. So they're probably gonna come to us and say, if you want to keep them, you're gonna have to pay 50% of it. So,
Infrastructure bill.
let's see.
All right. Well, great. Well, thanks for that update. And then I did hear that the region is the Eastway Council, to come, Council of Governments.
Yes.
Oh, wow, I'm gonna get it one of these days.
Just say East West.
Eastway, okay, East West Gateway. Amna had shared some information with me about they're looking at a regional grant for bikes, and I wasn't able to attend that meeting, but I'm curious to learn a little bit more, so. The conversation continues, okay. All right, one of the big things that we discussed at our meeting in June was the priority items from our plan. And I know I spammed y'all yesterday with our minutes, which summarized what we discussed, of course, and then kind of like I went through and organized them into 4 different categories: budget, policy, business outreach, and resident facing outreach. We've been asked from Mr. Peterson to come in and chat about what those priorities can look like from a budget standpoint. And so I am trying to get that scheduled with him. I've asked our Vice Chair Jeff to sit in on that meeting with me so that he can look at things for the council discussion, which is October 19th. So I don't want to go over all of the priorities again. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to look at them. I don't know if I said in my email to you or not, but I went as going through them. There's so many things we can do with like code and outreach to our community and things like that. And then there's a few things that we can look at for budget considerations. And so for this phase 1, I'm kind of comfortable, unless there are objections, to present this to Eric and kind of talk through it. Does anybody want me to like dive into it a little more or bullet point it a little more?
So just to clarify, so we're
Yeah.
talking about taking things from the plan to submit to use for this money from the,
From the ARP.
yeah,
American
yeah,
Rescue
yeah,
Plan.
yeah. And that's $100,000.
Mhm.
Okay. And so are we confined to the plan?
No, I mean, because council, or I would say no, am I right with that? Like council hasn't adopted the plan, and when we designed the plan.
I mean,
it was-
obviously it would be a bad move to
flexible.
just ignore it. You know, I'm
Yeah.
not suggesting that, but if we did think of something else that's not in there, that might be what
Yeah.
we're talking about.
Yeah,
I don't have any.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Do you have an idea, Cookie?
I would not, whatever you do, it should be in writing and, you know, in one place. So if you want to amend the plan.
Okay.
That's
That
how I
makes
would look
sense.
at it instead of a different
Okay.
document.
Mhm.
To make it part of the plan.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You all have a few buckets of money for, some is ARP, some is regular budget. So, you have a lot of flexibility. Some is earmarked for electrical vehicles, some is just for sustainability initiatives in general, and then another is for, community engagement and education. So, and they have different timeframes.
Got it. Would there be any benefit to bring in some kind of consultant, or do we have plenty of expertise? Like, I don't actually know what everybody's background is here, so like, do you feel like we have plenty of expertise here?
I mean, our commission, I feel like, is deep in knowledge on sustainability. That said, it's a volunteer group of citizens who, you know, were able to offer ideas and consultation. But as far as like follow through on some of these things, like some of these ideas, of course, my brain's like running away with how to implement some of these. And then I'm like, oh, what kind of bandwidth is that actually?
We've got someone in the room with a degree in sustainability. Just saying.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
A couple thoughts I had on that were, one, we've talked for a long time about trying to do, whether it's going through one of the universities to try to do a greenhouse gas emission survey. And look at the cities as sort of a one-time to sort of set the goalposts. And the other thing I think you and I talked about was, is there, so the walkability, bikeability plan that was done, what, more than a decade ago?
Yeah.
Is there a way, you know, could some of that money potentially be used to hire a consultant to look at kind of modernizing that with an eye just toward, obviously just toward Webster, and looking at something that's informed by data and not just, God, we think a bike lane would look good on, you know, work well on this road, but actual somebody who has a lot of expertise in this area, look and maybe 10 years down the road and say, here's, you know, here's some things you could do over the next decade that would really make a lot of sense.
I mean, I think that would be really beneficial, especially because there's another budget for walk and bike, or pedestrian and bike safety. Another $100,000 to consider. So I think it's really important that we are just thoughtful in how we proceed here. And I agree that that plan from 2014 needs to be.
Because I'm probably not the only person who's driven in parts of St. Louis or elsewhere and seen bike lanes on roads and got, whose idea was that? You know, no one's gonna use these bike lanes.
Or when they do, you're like, oh God.
Right, right. But to really kind of put together some sort of master plan for, because the city obviously has the resources and the ability to do the work, and but somebody who has expertise in planning.
And maybe you can incorporate schools and
Right,
like
with an eye towards safety too, yeah.
places where you would want to go to, like to and from.
Yeah, isn't Gateway Greenway? I mean, don't they have a ton of experts that if we said, hey, Webster is
Maybe
willing to
so.
let you look at our streets and give us ideas, they would jump in and say, more bike
Maybe.
Are
lanes
they
would be
within the
great.
first plan though?
They're the ones that.
Trail net.
Yeah,
I
trail
think
net,
Trail net, okay.
I'm
I feel
thinking-
like,
maybe more of a, some, I don't know, that's
Like more
possible, I don't know
specific.
exactly what context, you know, experts they have.
Well, I mean, there's some of these things that are geared towards regional connectivity, you know, connecting communities, so there are big contiguous loops that people can ride all throughout the region, and they've got a certain viewpoint, right? And I mean, I just really understanding what we're driving at in terms of bikeability, walkability for Webster is probably something different from that, because once kind of one end is connected somewhere else, the regional component is sort of satisfied, right? Is there something more specific and more elaborate in our community that we're looking to generate in terms of bikeability, walkability, and then how do we do something that speaks to that? Because it feels like that's where the focus of these resources
Yeah.
sort of are, right? So that's my perspective.
Yes, one of our landscape architects, he is, I think he's tied into Gateway Greenway or whatever it's called, but I could bounce ideas off of him. I mean, he designs cities and he does this connection and kind of goes through all this process. So if he couldn't do it, he could probably recommend some other people or consultants if we want to work that route.
Yeah, I don't know. So I feel like, we've got $100,000 in a couple different budgets, which is both a lot of money and not much money at all.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And personally, as someone who is a consultant and makes my living doing things like this, and it just seems like to take the money and spend it on consulting will just be like, oh, you have to do something physical. And
Yeah.
I don't know if we've really gone back to the plan maybe and tried to, are there any low hanging fruit or any priorities that would just jump out? Probably not, or else we'd all be talking about it. But it seems like if we could do something that was relatively visible, it's like, you always talk, Jeff, about putting PV at the rec center. And like, if we could use some of that money to, put PV, maybe it's at the rec center, maybe it's the tennis area or something, where we could, say, look, we did this.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna have a comment.
I'm not.
Yes, hi everyone. So I wanted to, can you hear me okay? Can you all hear me okay? No?
You there, Amna?
Yes, can you hear me?
Oh, shoot, hold
Can't hear
on.
Huh.
While we're trying to get her back online, I do think that the benchmarking of where we are is really important to our future
Yeah.
financial.
Yeah.
There we hear you.
Things.
I think we hear you now.
I agree.
Is that
Oh,
that
it's
working?
Still really loud. I don't know why.
Hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
Can you hear me all right now? Yes, okay. I think it would be really useful to understand what exactly East-West Gateway is applying for in that grant for the, Complete Safe Streets program. That might include a lot of what we are hoping to do with the bike infrastructure. I think John was getting at this. I think maybe focusing on some other items that we could use this money for, things that are a little bit more visible. Like one thing that Jamie, you had in that document was the green dining district. I think it's a great way to work with like the business community in Webster. And I think it's like a really great program that we could roll out, and maybe that money could be used towards incentivizing some businesses in, I don't know, maybe like some small grants or something to help them adopt compost pickup, for example, or, compostable serviceware is more expensive than other to-go serviceware. So I think that could be one part of that, the money that goes in that bucket.
Yeah.
So something I've been thinking about, and you and I talked about this a little bit, is that I really like to get to the heart of the issue. And to me, it's all about fossil fuels, right?
Mhm.
And I wonder if we could, as part of education, sponsor some educational, I don't know if they would be workshops or lectures for people about how to get their retirement money out of fossil fuels, but still,
Mhm.
have some money to retire with.
Mhm. Yeah.
I don't know, because I know that would probably piss off a lot of people who make their living by either directly or indirectly promoting the fossil fuel industry, but
Mhm.
I just think, as long as we're still burning that stuff, the rest of this is really gonna make much of a difference. Sorry.
Yeah, no, don't be sorry. Divestment's an important piece of the
Right,
equation.
and I just think, a lot of people don't even have, I don't necessarily know as much as I would like about how do I get out of this without compromising my
Mhm.
ability to retire.
Mhm. Yeah, I've done quite a bit of research on divestment personally. And expert, but I know it's quite a leap
Mhm,
for some people, and the infrastructure isn't quite
mhm.
ready yet for people, but now that the IRA is hopefully going to be signed into law, there will be more helpful routes along those lines. But yeah, I feel like that's an important thing to help our residents connect the dots on what small things they can do. So that we can collectively move together in the right direction.
And I think it raises awareness too, you
Absolutely.
know?
Yeah. John, you were saying PV. What is that? I apologize.
Photovoltaics.
Okay, thank you. Okay, going back to like walk, bike, safety, and I'm just gonna pop ahead on our agenda just really quick because it seems like the right time to just say this. The Traffic Advisory Committee, they are going to form a subcommittee, and I think I might have put this in our email, I can't remember. And I'm asking you all to consider whether or not you want to be on that subcommittee to address the money that is set aside for bike walk safety. I met with a member of their committee yesterday. And they are meeting actually right after us. And I said, you know, if you can get 2 to 3 people, I'll try to see who's interested, 2 or 3 of us, and begin scheduling some sort of regular conversation so that we can decide how best to spend that money, looking at our plan, looking at the walk bike plan that from 2014, and then looking at what the city has, you know, in mind for this sort of thing. That's another $100,000 that we can consider. And again, like John said, like it's not enough to do big things, but I think we can get something off the ground in a meaningful way for residents to see that we're listening and value their safety while pulling carbon from the atmosphere. Okay. So if you all, you know, are okay with this list that to start out with, to meet with Eric, take a peek at it if you haven't, and let me know if there are any objections. But I think this is a fair phase 1 after our discussion in June. Yeah.
Since we're talking about the plan, I just wanted, I don't know when the best time to mention this, but I met someone the other day by just a chance who it turns out is the chair of the Maplewood system. Have you met Stefan? Okay, yeah, and he said some kind of elliptical things about how he thought our plan was very interesting. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
Thanks. I'm glad you met him.
Yeah, I got an email from him right
Oh, great. Yeah, okay. That is part of the Mid-County Consortium group that we're doing for Green Cities Challenge. So I'll get to that in just a moment. Okay. Are we all comfortable with the priorities being, do we need to vote on those? Are we good? Okay.
When do we need to start targeting dollars for this?
So Eric, Jeff and I are going to meet. He's going to put some kind of dollars on some of these ideas so that when we talk to council again in October, mid-October, that everybody has an idea of what, you know, it's just not out in the ether. It's on paper what the dollars are looking like. We have another meeting between now and then, so I'm hopeful that at our September meeting, that we'll be able to share that with you and we can further discuss that.
One other thing that we talked about, and I wanted to ask Pam, maybe you could weigh in on this, but as far as, you know, looking out at sort of public facing initiatives to help improve sustainability. And this might be biting off more than we can chew. But is there any potential for some sort of a grant program to help residents do things, whether it's make their home more energy efficient or things along those lines?
Ameren has grants for that.
Yeah,
It's income based though.
right. But just, I don't know, I mean, I'm just,
Inspire has them.
Okay. Yeah,
Spire was at our last APWA luncheon, and they spoke about their programs, but they're all income-based,
right.
What does that mean
Well,
when you say
that's-
income based? I'm sorry.
low income
Gotcha.
is what they shoot for. How you can energy proof your home to save your energy costs.
Okay. With the Inflation Reduction Act, I think there's a lot of potential there, and I haven't read it. But what I've heard, and all the podcasts I've been listening to is, there's going to be assistance, with heat pumps and, PVs and, other initiatives that homeowners will be able to do. Jeff, I think it's an interesting idea because if we can support that sort of effort, how do we help our people draw the lines to connect those dots on how they can, we can help them make it easier, whether it's we need to look at our code to see about making, solar panels more accessible, or what that process looks like for residents. Just preparing for what's coming, because I have a feeling once people can see, oh, I'm going to save this amount of dollars and this system will pay for itself in 3 to 5 years, I feel like there will be a lot of folks who hop on that. So is there something that Webster could consider, kind of like your rainscaping grant that you have, that we can help folks along that process? Do you has that ever, like, how does your rainscaping thing work? And
As far as the community, I think, the education is really what is the big thing right now, and showing how these grants are easily accessible. So it's an education type program. As far as grants from the city, I would think that would not be a priority.
Yeah.
Be
Or
more about
even
just
just-
engaging, and so you do have dollars for putting on programs.
Right.
It's a new thing council did was give, each of those education-based commissions and boards a budget so they can actually pay speakers and advertise for programs, because, Green Space has been very regularly having programs every month, and it's 10 people or so, and we've, in the effort of trying to get the word out there, we
Right.
gave you money. So, and it's probably oversimplifying it, but you have $1,000 in your budget for 23 for education and advertising and honorarium, and whatever.
Yeah.
To help with that, and you could tap into those grant making organizations to present at a
Mhm.
workshop or
Yeah.
something.
Or even like a website. I feel like more than grants, what people might in Webster who probably won't qualify for very many grants. One of the things that's helpful is like they have like our solar panels are financed through Clean Energy Credit Union. And so just having like the resources. So when I was looking at our air conditioning, I thought was gonna die. And I was talking to Mike about that I wanted to put in the heat pump. And I already knew that I could look through them and that I could, I might not have the $50,000 up front, but that I could get my loan through them, and that it would be, they would finance it. So just having like a resource page for if you want to have these initiatives, because then you can reach the people, I don't have time to show up for a class, but I do have time to browse on my phone and see what I need to do. So that might be something to think about. And for $1,000, I'm sure there's some teenager who can put a web page together for it.
And there, well, I mean, Jen Starkey.
There you go. Perfect. We don't even
Yeah,
have to use any money.
yeah, you don't need to, just get the content, somewhat work with her on the content, but we do have the community development block grants, and again, but that's for low income people, but that's for home repair.
Yeah.
And things, and so. I think essentially it's maybe 3 to 6 residents a year have that access to those dollars, so.
Is there any opportunity to do for the commission or the city to be involved in engineering some sort of, for lack of a better term, group pricing or some other collective whereby you get one contractor who says, hey, if I get to do 20 of these things, you get cut rate pricing for the whole deal, and then people get, then they really get something out of it, a benefit, and they have a contractor to do the work and they can access the tax credit or whatever the incentives are.
I mean, I agree that
Bundling of services.
the education is the big missing link, because there are a lot of programs out there from Ameren. I think they do a really good job marketing and letting
Yeah.
people know they're out there.
Is that how Grow Solar works?
That is how Grow Solar works. And actually, they're starting back up, I believe, in 2023.
Okay.
And it would be, if we did one of those programs and could partner with one of like, Llewellyn's or whatever business does the green, is gonna do some green dining or something like that. If we could host it, if they could host, and then we had the solar people come, we could tack on either before or after with, oh, and here's someone from Webster who's gonna tell you about all these other things that are available to you through the community. And it would just have to be like a short 5 minutes, and the people who are interested are already there, and
I like those ideas. Okay. So community outreach. How do we put our dollars on that? We'll figure that out. And our talents. Okay. I think that sums up our old business. Our new business, I'm gonna pop around a little bit too. Carla mentioned Stefan Denson. He's a gentleman who's the chair of the Sustainability Commission in Maplewood. When I joined Green Cities Challenge through Missouri Botanical Gardens and Earthway Center, I had learned about this mid-county consortium, which consists of Maplewood, Clayton, and Brentwood at the time. And then I asked if we could be a part of it. And we met with the new sustainability director of the county. Her name is Amanda LeBrier, and had a long meeting with her to find out where the county is. They are very much in a building a foundation right now of sustainability, trying to assess where they are. The county is going to go through the process of what's it called when you build a big plan?
Master plan?
Yeah, strategic plan. Thank you for helping me with words. And so with the county's strategic plan, they have as one of the main pillars, sustainability and equity. And so we are meeting again. And right now, I'm not trying to, like, if anybody is curious to meet with this group as well, I can let y'all know about the meeting times. We are meeting next week in Maplewood with Ms. LeBrier to see how our group of municipalities can, work with the county. And so we're not all reinventing the wheel every time we turn around. So sharing details and like I had asked just Brentwood about their EV chargers and at the rec center and how that made sense. And I was like, what did you apply? What process did you apply to that? And they're like, well, it's busy. So I was like, okay, that's great. So anyway, I'm hopeful that with every time that we are coming up to, oh my gosh, here's an opportunity to do something, or here's what somebody, so we're sharing and collaborating instead of just doing our own things all the time. So that is the Mid-County Consortium. Stefan is lovely and has a huge government background with MoDOT. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this develops for our region. Okay, and then the other, so we have two more items on new business. So the EV charger placement, and Todd, you got some stuff?
I do.
Exciting.
Pass it down. I want to pass it down. You won't.
Yeah.
So this is the plan, and it's going to city council on September 6th. To appropriate the money to install this.
Can you throw in a bike rack?
Yeah.
Please.
Well, first of all, the parking lot that you see on the right side of the page is not the city's. We don't own it.
Okay.
It's the Masonic Lodge. But I'm putting two public chargers on that side behind the two police department chargers. We're gonna, then we can charge people to use them, so.
You're putting in the kind that has one fixture with two.
Two
power.
Two ports.
Yep. Yeah, you got it.
Is there a particular vendor on those or?
It's EBV, I think. Like, I forget what it stands for.
But this will be a credit card based.
Probably, or on the app or something.
You basically have to have an app for every
Yeah,
single one.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So the yellow thing on there is our generator, and then right there where I have it circled, there's a pole with a transformer on it. And that's where they're gonna pull the power to, and then they'll put a electric stand down there, and then they'll run the conduit up to the chargers for the police department and the public, and then one down to here for the building department vehicles. So in this budget year, we have the money for the charging stations, we have the money for 2 electric vehicles for the building department, we have money for 2 electric vehicles for the police department. So I'm getting the chargers installed, and then we're gonna work on getting the cars ordered. And I don't know how long it's gonna take the cars. Because we ordered dump trucks last October and we still don't have them.
Wow.
So,
Electric dump truck?
no.
Just regular. That'd be great.
Regular diesel dump trucks, and we haven't received them. They're that far behind in building them.
Cancel
Todd, I
them,
have
get
a
electric
basic
one.
question.
We looked at an electric sweeper. Our sweeper is $276,000, and we're getting it for $176,000 with our trade-ins. An electric one, $580,000. No trade-in.
Next time we have to order.
So,
Goes 5 miles before it has to charge back up.
exactly.
Hey Todd,
Yes.
so I'm looking at the plan here.
Yep.
And the red dots.
Our charging station.
All right, so that place there that's blank with the right angle of the. Do cars actually park there?
Yes.
That does not look like a parking spot.
Yeah, there's 2 parking spots there now that are angled.
Yes,
And then there's a third one where our public works building maintenance guy parks. So there's 2 angled parking spots, so that's just a rough idea, a rough area where
so
they're gonna be.
technically it's gonna shift down one.
It may
That-
shift us slightly.
That's not us.
Okay.
These 2
that's
may
what-
shift.
They're
There's
gonna
2
shift
parking
down.
spots, right?
Okay, that's what I was just, it looked like the one.
They're angled
that-
parking, so.
I see that, I just
Yeah.
see the.
So the
not-
dots
yeah,
should probably,
not really a
the dots should be
parking
down a
spot
little
there.
further. I just put them across from the police department ones.
Got it,
Because the conduit has to run up there and then.
right, but they're actually gonna be
Yeah, they
shifting
can be
down the
down
space.
Down to the south.
I know I've raised this concern before about the placement of them, the ones for the public, for public use. And I know we have, hopefully, this is going to be the first of many chargers.
We're working on the rec center.
There's some
We're
going to,
working on that.
working on that, okay.
So it seems like it's this, the rec center, and then the next spot would hopefully be that parking lot that we own that's downtown, would that be our,
In Old Webster,
yeah.
Parking garage, yeah.
Oh, we can't run condo on the parking. The parking garage is a piece of crap.
Well.
We have to
somewhere on it,
completely
I mean, that's-
reconstruct it before we put any electric stuff in
I'm
there.
glad to know that. I'm gonna stop. parking
Yeah, don't
there.
park in there. I would not recommend any parking in this.
Well, so,
God, yeah.
so I was looking.
Novus built it and they
Information.
built it cheaply. We've had so many freaking repairs we've had to put on it. I'm waiting for it to collapse.
Oh, my God. I am so glad I am at this meeting and now I know this.
Some infrastructure improvements.
Yeah.
before we put the chargers on it.
Okay.
Well, but I was looking at
Deal, maybe.
Tesla still has a program where you can reach out to them and ask, say, hey, I want to put a couple chargers in this location for a business. What do you think? I don't know how much they used to do it for free. They would just send you the charger and you give them power. They probably charge you now,
I'm
but
sure they do.
I got stuck at entering contact info and emails. And I figured I'd bring it up today and say, do we want to create or is there like a standard email? But I don't want to lock it all in on me and then you guys kick me out next month or whatever. And then
definitely.
I have everything locked in. So is there some Gmail account that I can create for Webster Grove Sustainability Commission or whatever, and kind of enter in all our generic stuff just to get Tesla to get back to me on
Or is there a person?
I
who-
would ask Jenny Starkey.
Starkey, okay. Yeah, because,
If we could put them at the rec center, that'd be.
well, I mean, you can
nice.
do multiple locations or whatever, but I think they really like being
Get
close to
some support from
businesses.
Tesla.
Yeah,
some-
but I assume that the way that it works, so is that like you have to run the conduit, would be my guess.
You run everything. they
Yeah,
just
and then they just
give
give
you
you the
the-
supply. So
give
if
you
we
the-
had them at,
The cost for this here at City Hall is 64,000. We will get back 30 from Amber on the rebates.
Oh, wait, how many are you putting in?
Six, it's $5,000 per rebate.
So it's 10,000 a pop.
Is it the charger or the electrical?
The
upgrades?
electrical upgrades and the chargers. Yep. Total is 64,000.
but once
I
you
thought
run
you
the
were putting
conduit,
in-
right, like
I
putting the
think you're putting
charger on,
three.
no big.
Right, yeah, the chargers aren't.
So even in this lot, you could get some Tesla ones if you had a space for them.
Yeah, I don't know where you'd put them though, because we can't go out into this lot because we don't know. You have to run, you have to trench your conduit and you're gonna have to tear up the. front.
Just put it right there.
Chargers.
Well, that's
Yeah.
private, that's the city's employee lot. That's not.
Oh.
public lot.
Two.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
So.
this is where the fire department.
Gotcha. So at the rec center would be a place that would be
yeah,
more
there's some
appropriate.
codes.
Okay.
So it's.
Can I make a quick comment on the Tesla chargers?
Yes.
Yeah,
I feel like it's not very inclusive since, you know, other chargers, you can stick the Tesla adapter on to charge your Tesla, but Tesla chargers don't go the other way.
They're
They're-
supposed, yeah, I don't mean to cut you off, but they're supposed to be coming out in the next 6 months or so, I thought, with a universal
Universal.
connector. Yeah, I think they
Okay.
realized they made a mistake. And more
Okay.
cars are out there and they want to make money off of that too.
Right,
So.
sure. Sure they do.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks for raising that point,
Especially if they could give us their level 3 chargers, like the quick
Yeah, the
chargers.
quick chargers.
Those.
Yeah,
those
these
would
aren't the
be-
quick chargers. these
Yeah,
are-
those are like the 4-hour chargers, yeah.
So quick chargers probably be 100 grand.
Really,
Or 50.
time is money, right?
So we
Okay.
figured like our building department cars, they can be charged overnight
Right.
Yeah.
and be ready for the next day. Police cars is gonna be kind of tricky. So I'm guessing that when they need to be charged and the officers have to use it, I guess.
How close are we to getting electric police cars?
We are looking at the Mustang, the electric Mustangs. So
But we're gonna put the chargers in and hope that maybe.
Police chief has signed off on
Okay.
getting the electric Mustangs because the Missouri Highway Patrol has already tested them and said, yeah, they're.
They look so cool.
Oh.
They were probably like, we all want these.
Except until they need to arrest somebody, then they're gonna pull a different car out, put them in, because they can't put them in the back of a Mustang.
You're not good enough for this car.
There's no room to put them in the back of a Mustang.
it's the SUV Mustang. There's no room in the back, really?
It's not an SUV, a Mustang.
Yeah, it's that Mach-E, right?
Yeah.
It's like an SUV.
It's kind of
It's like
like
a crossover.
It's like a crossover,
Yeah,
yeah.
like a-
It's not the little,
Not
the
a
sport.
farm.
With all the equipment they gotta put in the car.
Yeah.
Electric Mustang sounds like a band name.
I don't know why I'm so hung up on this. I guess I'm just worried about what like the optics are gonna be like, oh, City Hall went ahead and put in 2 chargers for their employees or whatever here in this City Hall lot. I am worried about like this. I don't know why I'm worried about this, but like that it just is a bad.
I would
Look.
not be worried about that at all.
Okay.
I wouldn't either.
We're this is our city. They're out there all the time on city business. We're citizens.
Okay.
And it's modeling, it's providing a model.
Okay,
Right.
help me, thank you for
And they're
helping me
for
walk
the-
through that
They're
because
for the cars that we bought for the city, so they have to be charged, and it just happens to be that it's easy to put on a public charger.
So we're putting these chargers in, they're accessible for people to use. And
So
phase 2 will be, we're
It's on
looking
our main,
into.
it's on our main thoroughfare.
Yeah.
It's centrally located
It's close to, yeah,
and
you can
it's
come here and park your
promoting
car to be charged while you go down and eat.
And we still have a budget
Yeah.
to investigate the other.
Yes.
Yeah.
options.
Yeah.
And logistically.
In
we can do.
competition with the citizens, like you're saying, right? Like the city is everyone. So when we do something for the city, it's sort of a statement of our values and putting our money where our mouth is and, you know, modeling the behavior that we want to see in others.
The solar people wanted to do covered parking over this parking lot, so we don't own it. They said, because that would stand out and people would see it and it'd be beautiful. I'm like, yeah, that's sorry.
Need to buy that parking lot.
Kick the Masons out.
I don't know, it seems like that just keeps coming up.
What other parking lots does the city own?
Rec center.
The one that's gonna fall down, the rec center? I shouldn't say
Um,
something like that. I'm kidding.
The one down in Crossroads off of Big Bend,
Okay.
the one in Old Orchard off of Dale. Off of Old Orchard behind
Behind like Frisco and all that.
Ah,
That'd be good stuff too.
That would be pretty.
Yeah.
parking
Yeah,
spot.
that's fine.
If, you know, what next, on the next go round for chargers, maybe some of those
Yeah.
get chargers.
That one up by Maypop is right off of Marshall, which is a pretty major thoroughfare. And there's not, I mean, those spaces, I walk my dogs there all the time. Those spaces are usually, there's at least a few empty. It wouldn't be like taking them away from.
We added to that lot.
If we put one behind Frisco, we could maybe reach out to the people who own that block and ask them to be a contributing partner.
Yeah, I think like Jeff has mentioned in the past that town in Minneapolis that partnered, the municipality partnered with the business districts in order to draw people in. So I think there's fertile ground for that discussion. And then Jeff, Mazer, you mentioned the, what is it, $100 million that the state is looking to invest along interstate thoroughfares. Hello, we're right here at 44. So this is,
Oh, so the rec center would be prime for that then, right?
Yep.
and if you think about like drawing people in just a smidge, you know, to dine with us and shop with us in our two,
Yeah.
you know, districts, 3 districts. So I feel like we will be talking about this in a much more exciting way than we talk about bags, but we'll talk about it forever now.
Okay, I have to leave at 5, but could I just bring up,
Yes.
if we want to do the pumpkins thing again this year,
Yes.
and that somebody has already reached out to me from, what's the church, like the one on the corner?
They're also.
Yeah, I know they're all in corners. The one that's like right at the edge of Glendale, right where Glendale and Webster come together off Berry,
Okay.
Berry and,
Annunciation.
Oh, yeah.
no, that one's the one that's down.
Across from MQT.
Well, it always sells
Oh,
the pumpkins.
Glendale.
Yeah, the one that's all.
Oh,
it's outside of Webster. That's not in Webster.
Yeah.
That's a Methodist.
So it's not, it is and it's not. She
They're not
she
in
has a very.
Here it is with no word.
Yeah,
Like
very,
First Congregation.
yes, that's the one, yeah, and, so anyway, she was wondering about partnering with us. Which I wasn't sure we could do anyway, because I thought that might be like separation of church and state. Like, I don't know. Um,
We're not forcing
love it.
anybody to go to their church or believe their
Right.
beliefs, so.
Not forcing pumpkins.
Yes, so anyway, I told her I would kind of come up, let her know, like if we were interested in partnering, or if not, I would just give her the resources if they wanted to have their own compost thing. What do we think? Or do we want to just do ours at the rec like we had planned on, and they can say if they want to put it in their thing, they can put it in, an announcement out.
Church bulletin.
Yeah, I don't know that I feel super compelled to partner. And because I like having the accessibility at the rec
Yeah,
center was really
agree.
important. It's
Are we gonna smash them this year?
That was the
totally,
most fun part,
Gotta
for sure.
absolutely.
So I gotta get a big tarp.
Maybe we did smash them in the grass last time. There might be
I'm
pumpkins.
sure there's pumpkins.
Except maybe they could just spread the word, you know, that people who buy their pumpkins can return them. to-
There, yeah, and I told her that, another big aspect is that you can't paint pumpkins that you want to compost, so that, they could.
Yeah.
And if they want to do their own composting, we had more than enough pumpkins that I think it will be fine if they also
Yeah.
have composting for theirs.
Yeah.
And then if we're gonna do it, I know we were just talking about education and advertising. And Jamie, we had talked about if we wanted to do more than just. Here's our pumpkin
Mhm.
compost, so that might be an area where we can add it.
Mhm.
But it is August and
Yeah, you're right.
we have to actually start. I,
Yeah, the Christmas
The
stuff might
planning.
come out in the stores.
yeah, so we have to, I have to start figuring out who's gonna be who's gonna be our bid, how long of a time frame.
Mhm.
Last year, we got the guy with the smaller because he could pick it up and drop it off at the same time. If we get a bigger compost thing, we're gonna somehow have to make sure that people don't put their old chairs in there.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's a couple parts that we need to somewhat think about and,
Are you willing to spearhead this effort again?
yeah, I can spearhead again.
Thank you. Let's start to pop some emails around
Okay.
to get that organized. And then also, I guess we also need to be talking about Christmas light recycling as well. So, and yeah, so let's connect on that and we can see where we want to take that.
Sounds great.
Cool, thank you. And just one more item on new business is the green space group would like to collaborate with us on a speaker series and community outreach and education in the future. And so I don't know if anyone is particularly interested in attending one of their meetings. I followed up with the person and we haven't connected back about what that could look like. But they are looking at a speaker series starting in January. So I don't know, I will ask you all to consider if you'd be interested in doing something with the green space group. Just one or two of us, I think, with all that.
I don't know if I have the bandwidth, but I would love them to do one on the invasive ivy that is just like everywhere.
Oh, God.
Do you guys notice that?
Yeah.
Just regular old English ivy.
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean, it's killing lots of trees and
Oh,
you
yeah.
can see in Webster killing lots of trees,
Yeah.
so. It would be good. We had like a tree guy come and now I've been trimming all the trees in our neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
The ivy, you have to trim the ivy a certain way so that it doesn't grow back up.
Oh,
and
really? I just rip it out and
No,
start
that's
down
bad
the roots.
You can't
Are you
take it off the
talking about
tree.
Oh, no, I'm careful. I'm
Anonymous and under creeper.
Probably the stuff that comes up
Yeah.
the tree and
Yeah.
then eventually.
Sure.
Don't
kills
take
them.
off the tree.
Yeah, you don't take it off the tree.
You just,
You have to cut it, but it will grow back together. So you have to like cut it from here
Cut
to
a
here.
section out.
Yeah, and then you're supposed to leave it on the tree because if you pull it off, it can
That can
damage the
damage
tree
the
bark.
Pull bark off.
but what I do to the bottom part is I just pull it as far back along the root as I can.
Yeah,
And brutally snap it.
so I feel like
Show,
You know,
you gotta show
it would be helpful for people so that we can save some trees. So
Yeah. Well, when we get to that point where we know who's gonna collaborate with them, then we'll pass back and forth. some ideas.
There's a lot of people who need some outlet for their stress and anger. I think just showing people how they can.
Recycling pumpkins.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great. Also pulling that ivy out of the ground. That's very.
Too bad you can't do that with the honeysuckle.
Right,
Yeah,
You gotta dig that up.
yeah.
okay, that's it for us for new business. I know we are coming close to 5 o'clock couple minutes before. Pam, do you have any council update or anything you'd like to share with us?
This month, we have done 2 sets of interviews so far for the Charter Review Advisory Board. We had over 30 applicants for 9 spots. So, and they've all been really very incredible, talented candidates. Yeah, it's gonna be hard to figure out, but we cast a wide net in getting the word out and specifically asked for a diverse group. So we've definitely got a diverse group to pick from. So we'll have those selections done. Council's taking a break this month. We'll be back in September and we'll have that all hopefully figured out by the end of September. And that's essentially it. You know, we have that work session coming up where you all are going to present your priorities. And we're going to talk more about, adopting Forever Webster Growth officially as a strategic plan. So that's what I have. Thank you. Sure.
Todd, anything else to add?
Yes, so the
Yeah.
electronic recycling was last weekend. We had 625 participants from 42 different zip codes.
Wow.
And we collected almost 40,000 pounds of materials, so almost 20 tons.
It shut down.
And we had to turn people away because they ran out of room in their trucks. They got that much stuff.
I did have a request came to me about having a shred event. Don't know if you all have ever talked about that, but
There's shredding events all the time.
Yeah,
We've never had one.
with our pumpkin composting.
yeah.
And the other
all
thing
for one, fill your cars with everything.
The other thing I have is I got an email from a WashU student. It's also a St. Louis native. that has sustainability consulting firm Green Heart Partners LLC. They would like to partner with the city of Webster Groves in doing a greenhouse gas inventory. Developing sustainability plan and integrate a customized sustainability dashboard onto our website.
That
Is
sounds
this a-
amazing.
is this a put on?
Partner.
Are they asking us to
He's
invest?
called me and he's emailed me and I'm like, well, I'm meeting with my sustainability on Monday. Let me talk to him about it and see what their thoughts are.
Well, I feel like if we're going to do those kinds of things, we should probably talk to several places and maybe they could be one of them. If
Sure.
we look them up and they seem good.
Green Heart Partners.
Did he say what school?
Well, she's.
The department within the school,
Oh, he did.
engineering
He
or?
did.
What's his name? Oh, I
Johnny
think-
Yeldham, Yeldham.
Tad, are you able to share that email with me?
I have it down.
Is he from Webster? Yeah,
He didn't say he's from Webster. He just says he's a St. Louis native.
even if he's a student who's looking for like an
Oh, here
internship
it
or
is.
cash, it might be a worthwhile investment.
Well, you know, there's probably a lot of places that do this and I don't think we necessarily want to just hand it to the first place that knocks on the door, you know what I mean?
That could be true.
I mean, I'm not saying rule them out, but
Unless he does it for free.
He says that the,
Yeah.
it says that the president of the company and other members of the business development team would love to talk with any relevant decision makers about the possibility.
well,
I'm
if
sure there's
they
gonna be
would love to,
I'm sure there's gonna be a cost.
if they would love to, then we should just.
I do know that with Collinsville, they partnered with SIUE.
Oh, yeah.
And had a student, I think the fee they worked out with SIUE was $5,000.
Does Webster have anything like that? Webster, you?
I
Carla,
have a sustainability
Any-
program.
pardon? Yeah.
Greenhouse gas thing?
We have, no, we couldn't do that.
Oh,
We have, so at Webster, we have, the biological sciences used to have, I honestly don't even know if they have it anymore, a master's degree in like environmental management. That was all online. The education department used to have a master's degree in like sustainability, you know, oriented towards education, and they still do a kind of credit bearing workshop for teachers every summer. At the undergraduate level, all we have is a minor. So it's, you know, I don't, and they're just, we don't have a lot of technical programs at Webster. So I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't know that there's any students who would really be, maybe in that environmental management program that still exists, but I don't know that there would be anybody who could do something like that. I will say this John Yeldham guy, I think, was the president of Ladue Horton Watkins High School Spanish Honor Society chapter for the 2020 to 2021 school year. No, I'm just saying, I think he's recently out of
Yeah.
high school,
yeah, he's young.
but a bit of an overachiever.
Good on.
Amna might have some resource. Amna, do you have any resources or ideas? Because I know this is part of your job outside of firms or people or students who maybe would be interested in benchmarking.
Yeah, there are, I know of a couple, I've actually heard of this student. I haven't worked with him. There is another student I can think of who also started kind of a similar company that he works on outside of school. And then my boss teaches a course and he works with, I think they generally work with under-resourced communities to help them come up with like renewable energy plans. But this is like specifically like a GHG inventory. So I'm not really familiar, but I could certainly ask around.
I have a friend who is a sustainability consultant. She's an architect, but I know her in a completely different way. So I don't really know that much about what she does, but I can put somebody in touch with her. I know that's a really compelling. I mean,
Okay, so I think between now and September, we kind of try to figure out, you know, if we know anyone and see about talking what the next steps could look like for us
she has
to
a lot of
get the greenhouse
experience.
gas.
Is it
inventory going.
worth compiling even a very brief sort of request for information or
Yeah.
RFP that we sort of sharing sort of standard information across these people
That's a
about
great
what it is we're looking for.
Yeah. Have you done that before?
That's what it is.
I think we just say what we're looking for, you know?
I'm happy to take a pass.
Okay.
I don't think it has to be any special.
And what are you looking for? Because I know enough to be like dangerous, but there's 3 scopes that we have to look at and you have to categorize it, and scope 3 is quite difficult because it's not in
What
your
is
city's
scope?
control.
Oh, you just mean the,
No,
No.
it's divvied up into like 3 ways of looking at it. The first one, scope 1, are scopes that are kind of within your control, like energy that you burn on your premises. The
Okay.
next scope is energy that you like purchase, like from the Ameren or whomever. And then the third scope are all those people who are basically, networking or providing things to you and what they consume. So
Mhm.
that's like it's exponentially more
Most
difficult.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it looks, I looked at some cities and they've all had partnered with universities or even I think USGBC has
Mhm.
team has helped out.
Okay.
Doing these
Yeah,
things.
that's probably low cost.
Yeah.
John, I know you've had that conversation with Emily and. Drew.
Actually, I had, and about, really, it was about something different, but we should have Emily or someone from USGBC just come in and talk to us. I was talking specifically about the building energy exchange.
Mhm.
And I still think it might be worth it to have someone come and talk to us about that.
I don't think that greenhouse gas inventory is rocket science. You just have to know,
that's a good point.
know how to do it.
Mhm. I mean, Eric did ours when he first he did the Webster buildings when he first joined the commission back in the
Yeah.
day.
So that's the first scope, right?
Just the city buildings.
Yeah, I'm talking about, but that would classify as first.
Right.
And yeah, energy that we consume here. Like lighting. for the
So one question we would have to answer, it seems like, is how many of those scopes do we want to cover, right?
Well, if you're really doing a greenhouse gas emissions, you need to cover all 3.
Okay, oh, so it's not an option.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Well, yeah, and a lot of, yeah, a lot of it gets lost. And I mean, that's why you see gas pipeline companies claiming they're going, they're gonna be carbon neutral by 2050. And you're like, wait a minute.
We could invite them to come and tell us what they're talking about.
hurt.
That's a
We
good
can
point.
have them come. sit down.
Do we want to talk to Ameren?
I thought, were we gonna have Ameren?
Yeah, for the EV.
I mean, I think that'd be interesting to hear what they've got in terms of.
Who's gonna come in July?
Yeah.
You couldn't make this one.
I do think, because I am curious to ask Ameren, like what a plan could look like if we know that there are going to be opportunities available to us down the line for EV infrastructure. What does that look like? For municipalities, for business districts? Does that sound like a fair next step as we're helping our city move into this, step into this? So let's do Ameren at our next
Okay.
meeting.
I'll reach out to you.
Yeah, if you could, that'd be great, thanks. And then, do we push the USGBC
Yeah,
chat to October?
or later, whatever works. I mean.
Okay,
anytime
okay. All right, I'll reach out and you and I maybe can talk about reaching out to Emily since you have a. And then as far as the RFP or request for information, Jeff and John, would you be willing to kind of work together on that, please?
I'd be thrilled to.
they- Sure.
Thank you so. And then regarding the working with the Traffic Advisory Commission, I asked Paul, he couldn't make it today because he was getting onto a late flight. I asked him to consider doing that since he worked with Webster on Wheels. I know Amna, I don't know what kind of bandwidth you have. I know you worked with Paul and the Webster on Wheels crew. If you'd be interested in working with the bike infrastructure, if anybody else is interested in that. I guess I'm just gonna say, reach out to me. And if I don't hear from anybody by the end of the week, I'll start asking.
Maybe send us an
Drafting.
email and remind us.
Yep, absolutely.
So one last thing.
Yes.
I was looking at the Energy Star and it kind of goes along the same thing of the Tesla. I needed email addresses, but it's pretty simple, talking with our group and internally that we just need bills and we can link our account numbers, I guess, from the city for all the buildings, and that just sucks it all in and calculates everything for us. So,
Wow, I think is that portfolio.
Portfolio
manager.
manager, yeah,
That's cool.
sounds
Okay.
pretty simple. I just got to the email firewall and was like, well,
Yeah, Gene. Fund talked about that.
Yeah. Okay, and that's as simple as we would need it to be for the greenhouse gas inventory, just for our city buildings. But if we're looking at wider scopes, then we need more expertise, right?
Well, I guess. Sure, I guess the scope really that you're talking about for an RFP is just city owned property.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okie dokie, anything else, anybody?
Do we have any bags? Like, I mean, like.
Do we have bags?
Going to college in Vermont, and she said she needed a few, collapsible bags. I was like, oh, maybe you could bring some Webster Gross bags, and then in Vermont, they would know about Webster Gross.
Take you out the side door, I'll stay out.
Exactly what the grant was intended.
Yeah,
Put it in
exactly.
your fame.
Okay, well then, our next meeting is scheduled for the 19th of September. And I think all we need is a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Jeff. Second,
Second.
thanks, John. All right, everybody. Oh, yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
Great.